How's everybody doing? Sign in here and see how this does. Yep. It already went offline. So let's see if we can get it to go. Long weekend. Hello. How you doing?
Nobody's here yet.
Because you want to run your group now?
No, I'm gonna run Thursday.
Okay.
That's okay?
That's fine.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I just got some.
Am I what?
Are you
I'm not. I was trying to get this running. There you go.
I got money from Great Minds Fellowship, but I didn't even know I was a part of it. So I'm confused.
So if you don't want to be a part
I
of
do.
it, okay.
Money, but I didn't
Right.
know what to do.
When do you do your internship?
I probably would do it over the summer,
Well, Nikita only offers fall or spring.
fall or spring.
Because you're a
Wait,
senior
so-
next year, so you have to do it by fall. That's the catch.
So I have to do it during school.
It's a 12 hours you register and then 3-hour class she teaches.
So I have to do it during school.
That's how they've always done it.
Okay.
It's like part of the program. It's like a class. You know what I mean? Like, basically, every school does this. So you register for 12 hours. That's your internship. You could go work at. You have a car.
I have a car, but I don't have a license. But hopefully my senior year I have the license.
Because that will be kind of key.
Mhm.
And then you'll work at. Most people are going to this place called TCN.
Mhm.
Oh, and then just T said something. Won't be in class. Daughter's running. Okay, and then. All right, we should be live though. So does any of that make sense? I can try to break it down more with like visuals.
So is there anything I gotta do on my end? Like anything I need to fill out?
I would say. So you did want to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm just confused.
Is this like $5,000, right?
It was 3,000 something.
And they might be breaking it into thirds, so you get 3,000, 3,000, 3,000.
Yeah, I need the money. So
Right.
It's like,
It is hard because I get it. Like all of us, everybody in this bad economy needs some money. So what it means is you do your placement. Let's see if I can look it up.
Okay.
At like TCN, say worst case scenario, you don't get a car. Maybe there's a place in downtown Xenia
Mhm.
and you could take the Green Cat. That would be like worst case scenario.
Mhm.
TCN BH Ohio. I'm just trying to.
So I'm just trying to figure out what's the requirements, like
And then you gotta.
1 year?
You're supposed to give them a year, and I think a lot of people are doing it during graduate school. So maybe
Also, you can do it after school as well.
yeah, and then Dr. Harley told me they're connecting back that they'll pay off your student loans after school. So it sounds semi-unclear, but I do know it's. I wonder if I could look up something on AI. Hey, it's working now. Oh, I'm so sore. I can't move. How are you?
Are you in Ohio Great Minds?
I don't know. Good question.
I know as we're trying to figure out the breakdown of like the year afterwards because it does keep on changing a little bit. It's like
Like I have the UD grant, which means I'm also eligible to get the
Great
Ohio
Minds
one,
also,
but
right. Which it sounds like they're being a lot more flexible than you would think,
yeah.
honestly.
So you just have to work 1 year at one of their listed
Yeah.
companies, and that's it.
Yeah, 1 year post grad.
And this is one of them that has accepted most of our students.
To what? To work there?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after college, they want you to work 1 year somewhere.
Yeah, in Ohio.
But you don't have to do it during school, or can you do it during school?
No, you can't.
It's supposed to be
Someone
like
asked.
when you're licensed, right?
One of the
That's-
UD people asked, and you can't.
Oh, you can't do it during school. You
Mm-mm.
gotta do it after.
Oh, is UD people doing Great Minds too? So they're double dipping?
No, they were asking just about like the work requirement because some of them are already working
Somewhere
like in
that's
the field. Because mind you, like
Yeah.
I think it was like actually a UD student. Because mind you, they already have like
a
a
bachelor's.
bachelor's degree.
Yeah, they just don't have a
And she
license.
said no, like it has to be like after.
Or you go to graduate school,
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
So
Because
if
that
you go to graduate school, you can just.
I
that's
think
what the
it's
UD
weird.
want. So that's why it is. And that's called the Behavioral Health Workforce Expansion Program, which is part of Great Minds. Ohio Great Minds. I wonder if there's
so
something.
you can work part time though. Like that's the thing because you could technically like work for a company part time while being in your school.
Mhm.
Here you go.
But it can't like I think the work requirement does not satisfy the
There it is. 1 year.
internship.
It does say full time. I swear they've been flexible on it though, because
So
who
1
knows?
year full time. I mean, I can do this.
While in graduate
just
school
while in
too.
grad school.
Some people are doing that. I work full time. It's not recommended, but if you manage your time, you can do it. You can. I have a huge
That would be perfect if
lump
I could just work
right
with.
here.
Did you go to the doctor yet?
No
When are you going?
Friday. Somebody said that's where your glands are. That when you get sick.
Like your lymph nodes?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know, you're talking to the wrong person.
Now, I mean, I say I'm a doctor, but I'm not a medical doctor. How was UC for you?
I liked it. I think that's really where I'm going to get my master's.
Could you guys tell there was unique energy between them and us at all? Mainly because I told them I want my students to choose for themselves, and I don't want them to think I am like.
Steering them like you should go to UC.
And because of that, I'm not as the way Ebony was 5 years ago. She would like get them all together, get them on the bus, take them down there, stay the night, come back. I said, I'm doing it more how Ohio State recruited last year, where they offer to drive our students down, visit the campus, offer them money, and take them home. And we have 4 colleges doing that now. And then I can tell Dana was annoyed. That's why I think she said it's her last year. She didn't want to do it.
I mean, that's kind of oh well.
In charge of it. She'll
I
do
mean,
it, but
respect to you because like you want to empower your own students to make like their own decision.
I know,
about
but
where to
these
go to grad
UC,
school.
I think, is pissed at me. Like they won't
Well,
even
I think
reply.
it's from their
email.
perspective, it's different because if they want to recruit people, because obviously they want people's money.
Right.
And a
yeah.
diversity of that program.
Well, and they got $500,000 to recruit them. So they're part of the behavioral
Mhm.
health what is it called? BHWCP something.
I think it's BHWPP.
Behavioral Health Workforce Expansion Program. She got that grant too. And it's $500,000.
Mhm.
And it is specific to recruiting people from Central. UD has worked hand in hand with us. Like we're all together on it. Whereas UC is like, okay, cool. Bring your students down, and they're different. They don't give us anything. They don't give us. Nobody pays us to work on the weekends, and we all got big families. Nikita can't make it. There's no way. I barely made it, and my kids trashed the place. So, am I answering any of your questions about Great Minds?
So this money you don't have to pay back.
It is supposed to be money you have to pay back, but you do have to work a year. It is full-time employment, so you should get a fair wage, and you get this money to finish school.
So it's money you have to pay back.
I don't think the Great Minds is.
No,
money
you don't have to
back.
pay any of it back.
Nope, it's a grant,
You just then require like to work somewhere for a year.
which is
You
kind
get
of
paid
like.
to work there. It's just because there's just such a shortage of people working
Yes.
in like behavioral health.
Mhm.
It's like the
That's why.
incentive to get you to go do it.
Oh, okay.
With the hope that after you work there a year, you
You still
continue to
work
work there. Like, oh, I like working here. It's for me.
Or
whatever.
get your independent license, which
Yeah.
is 2 years. So if everybody gave 2 years to a hard to work at agency, I did.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are going to do the 1 year work requirement and be like, oh, I'm fine with just doing this. They pay
Yeah.
me good enough money. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then like,
Stay on.
yep.
So
Right.
do you think it would be like a job opportunity,
Sure.
like in a hospital
Um,
setting?
I do know in Columbus they are part of the Great Minds Behavioral Health Workforce Expansion Program.
Hmm.
Nationwide is part of them.
I think it depends. Because just because you work for the for a hospital, that doesn't mean they can't put you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of like the Dayton public schools, it's someone from Dayton Children's, like a social worker, but they're now a school social worker and they're placed in there. But you can really do anything. Like I think you could do schools because some behavioral health people put social workers in schools.
Yeah, the counseling source would be one of those who does
I'd
that.
want to go into a nursing home.
The counseling source does that too.
Or foster home.
Definitely is going to be foster homes. Like Lighthouse Youth Services is probably one of them because there is a shortage there, and that's
That
where
has
I've
on the
worked.
list too.
I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, it is exciting. It has been as much of a shit show as Dayton money has been for our students haven't gotten their tuition money yet.
At least we got the stipend, some of the stipend money.
You got some of it, but our GA has to get paid through Central, so she hasn't gotten shit and she's pissed, and I would be too. But there's nothing we can do about it besides be pissed.
Who's your GA?
Our GA's name is Selma,
She's a GA?
or RA, research assistant.
I didn't know that's what she was.
She's the research.
So that
There is
means
one
Selma,
position,
Selma and Logan both haven't been paid?
but I thought Logan was from Dayton,
Yeah.
so she probably got paid. Dayton
So
doesn't
you're
have
dating, right? Because-
problems like Central has. Central has
Oh,
problems.
that's sad.
It is. And so it sucks.
So it seems like Central State's like the common factor of why this is.
It really, and it has been. I worked on a grant for 18 months once and never got paid. 18 months. Unpaid. They eventually paid, but it was unpaid.
That's
So
actually-
it is very sad. I'm trying to be like positive and hopeful, but I am noticing different things about my health, like having lumps on my neck and
Well, I mean, like you get to the point like where you are getting older. There's nothing wrong with that. Aging, natural.
I'm getting old and I got
But, like,
cancer.
You know,
No,
cancer.
I wish
Oh my gosh, you don't have.
I mean, I got to get it looked at. I don't know what it is, but it's a lump right here.
Yeah. What if they're like it's a knot?
Yeah.
What if they're like you need to go get that massage?
Have you
done?
looked up what it could be? Like,
Yeah,
Don't
it
let
could.
it do that.
It could be whatchamacallit, like, because watch this. There's
I'm
a
sure
ton of
it's
people
not
that have it.
cancer.
you can't speak that into existence.
Right.
Swollen lymph nodes. I think that's what you have.
Yeah, a lot of people, but even the images, if you go to images, it's kind of funny. Is people have got it way
Ooh.
worse than I know.
Yeah, I'm
like
sure
that's
you
right where
saw
mine
it.
is.
Oh my
See that big old thing?
That's making me hurt.
Yeah.
Why don't you click on the picture and see like what the description is like on that website?
A lot of them does say lymph nodes.
Yeah, it's probably just swollen. Maybe you have allergies or something.
Right. It's still weird as hell.
You know,
That looks like a word.
I feel like worst case scenario. Guess what? They're gonna be like, you have to take some antibiotics.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Or if it is a cyst, they cut it out.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm sure you don't have cancer.
if I do, I will fight
You're
it like
probably
I
just
fought
stressed
everything.
because you have kids, a family.
This weekend
BS
was
at your
long.
place of employment.
Which professor did our students connect with the most at UC, do you think? I know you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
You said which one?
Which professor did you connect with? Like, which one was nice, helpful, okay, kind, or annoying, if there was one?
It was. I don't remember her name. It wasn't Dr. Pope. She was nice.
She is. She's straight from Miami, so
It's
she's
the one
brand
with
new.
the short haircut.
Right, Ebony.
Emily, I think that's her name.
She got
Short
everybody's
haircut.
number probably too.
Yeah, she's the sweet. Like she really is sweet. I can tell she's really genuine.
Right. Yeah.
I like
Okay. She did work here, and then she went to UC in 21, and now she's in Ohio Dominican or something. So
Do you? Because my only problem problem is like I do want to experience like going to a PWI, a big university, but I also feel like it'll be too much for me, and I want to go to like a small one.
I don't know.
I hear
feel like
you.
being a grad student's different.
It is different.
Because even
It's
like the
very
layout
different.
of a master's of social work, like you're not going to be on campus for at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
If it's those semesters where you're doing a placement.
Yeah.
But like then like you're not really going to be into the party scene because you're going to be
That's-
stressed out trying to write.
You're just in grad school. That's all you do. You
Yeah.
live your life, you work your job, you go
And
to
you
school.
might not even choose to live on campus.
Yeah.
And there's 5 other grad schools
Would you
around the
commute
state.
from home? Are you from Fairfield?
I'm from Cincinnati, so
What part?
I'm from Coleraine. I live in Coleraine.
I'm in Coleraine too.
I also live in Coleraine.
Really?
Where?
I live what is it?
White Oak.
Pensacola.
Is that the street?
Mhm.
What's like by it?
It's
Like a shop or something.
It's Northwest High School is near it.
Okay.
Where is Northwest High School? I only know Coleraine High School. But I think I'm in Northwest District in White Oak.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Where's
It's a little
Northwest? Where is that?
I don't know how to explain where it is because like with where you live, you probably like you will never pass it most likely from coming here.
Right. Well, I'm not a
Okay.
West Sider either. I'm
I'm
from.
in Northgate Mall. Northgate.
I work at Northgate Mall.
Really?
Yeah, I work at that DSW. Okay.
Like
let me-
Macy's and stuff that closed.
It's like on the outside, if that makes sense. So you can't
Yeah.
get inside the mall. So you
Like
know
a
where
furniture
Ulta
store.
Beauty is,
Kind
or like where
of.
Michaels is.
The furniture store there just closed too.
I don't know. I haven't been back home. You're
Burger
the only
King.
one back.
Burger
Yeah,
King.
over there.
Yeah. I only know the Burger
I've
King.
worked there since I was 16.
You could then get a DSW in 3 years.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah. You could have a MSW, then a DSW, and you worked
Okay,
at
how do I
DSW.
explain where I live? Do you know where Gold Top is?
Mm-mm.
The dairy bar with the gold roof. You get
Do
ice
you know where
cream
Blue Rock
there.
Park is?
Blue Rock.
Mm-hmm.
The corner of Coleraine and Blue Rock Road,
Mhm.
right?
I heard of it.
Do you know where White Oak Middle School is?
White Oak.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Winton Woods at first.
Oh,
I
right.
graduated from Northwest.
Where is Northwest? I have no, and I swear I was in Northwest District. So you take Blue
you're in
Rock.
Northwest Local School District.
Okay.
There's just 2 high schools. You either go to Northwest or Forward. They should
Oh.
combine, but we don't need to get into that.
Oh.
No, it failed. Like they were going to, but then the levy failed.
Right.
Been a lot going on.
So if you go home, you take Coleraine Exit Avenue or the one before it? Because it goes Coleraine, Blue Rock is where I get off at for White Oak. And then I take a right on Phil Knoll off of Blue Rock.
Wait, you live in Cincinnati?
Yeah,
And you drive here
Every day. every
You're
day.
crazy.
Yes.
Wiley did that too.
Yeah.
A lot of professors
That's what
do
you
it.
left, right?
Right. Most professors are from a big city. There's not many from out here.
Because how surprised would you be like, oh, I live in Xenia,
Right.
right off of West Main Street.
I am moving to like Middletown pretty much.
Okay, that's closer, but like that's still a place.
Yeah. So when you go home, do you take Coleraine Avenue?
Mm-hmm.
And then you drive like a mile past Toyota,
Yeah, Toyota.
Gold Star,
Yeah, it's like everything.
the
near my
Kroger's that
house.
closed.
The Kroger that closed. That,
Yes.
Yes, the
What
Mount
Kroger
Airy
closed?
Kroger that closed.
Yes.
That's right by the
Mount
Kroger
Scary
factory.
Kroger's. We call it
yes,
Mount Scary.
Yes. Okay, that is right by my house. Like that is where I
Yeah.
That was my Kroger.
But then you're that way too, all the way down to.
I live near Northgate Mall. You know
She lives
Northgate Mall?
further up corner.
Yeah. So like
You
Aldi's
live
is
further down.
there,
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's like everything. Like,
So you would go left into those neighborhoods, I guess.
So do you go to like the white Walmart?
the white Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Above
Yeah.
275?
Yeah, the one by
Right.
Party City.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I go to
that's
both.
that
I have to return something right now. I go to both.
White Mart, Black Mart,
Which one smells more like weed?
Black Mart.
Does it?
Yes.
Like you get out and right away, it just the parking lot is covered in weed.
one. It's one Walmart. I don't know. It's just soon as it's like I know it's near Rumpke or something.
Yeah, that's the one above 275
Oh
north.
my gosh, I
Mhm.
hate going to that Walmart.
Why? I like that one. That was nicer.
So is that the white one?
Rumpke. It's the smell.
Oh,
No,
the smell is bad.
Rumpke
Correct.
smells bad, but only on the days that they burn the trash.
That's
Which
true.
is not every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know where that Lowe's is?
Yes,
My boyfriend used to live back there.
we almost bought a house back there.
They're nice.
Yeah, they're all. It was
Nice.
like brand new, but it was
Yeah.
so closed in.
Yeah, it was very limited yard space. Like the basketball courts and the pool and
Oh, you wanted to lead on a day people were here, so now we got people here.
a singular person.
I
That's
can
the
be
best way
I
to
can
do
be
it.
a participant.
Have
I
you
know.
led yours?
No, I'm doing mine on Thursday.
Perfect.
So if you want
It just
to,
feels stupid.
you
Like,
don't
I'll do
want.
it.
Okay, I was going to say.
I might bring my own friends here. 'Cause,
That's
like,
fine.
If
You can do that.
If you bring people on Thursday, can I also submit them to my own?
Yeah, that's
Like,
fine.
can you go and then I kind of go to your friends?
Yeah, let me.
She's
see
like,
if
let
they
me
can
make sure.
actually come.
Let me make sure.
Or you know what? I'm just gonna text my Shanti, make sure she comes on Thursday,
That's true.
and then at least there'll be 3 of us.
Okay.
Okay, because I like an intimate group, but it's just like
Right.
Nobody really comes to the class.
I know, because people say I need to be tougher and a hard ass and like call people out.
Yeah.
What was
Ooh.
that? So yeah, UC brought him to the football game. UC toured him around campus. UC got him a hotel room.
Do you like the area? Like, do you like Clifton?
So like what?
Clifton.
Because
Because Clifton about here.
It's
a
expensive
lot
too.
going on.
It's expensive.
It was a lot going on.
Yes.
But I don't know. I feel like I do want to experience a bigger university.
For sure.
I feel
Yes.
like you need the best. I went to the HBCU, a smaller university. Now it's time to like experience bigger.
For sure. Like, I'm only looking at big schools for my master's.
Well, and if you could live at home and
Also-
save $12,000 a year living at home, not that you
And
want to
just
live
do
at
it.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't just commute that 20 minutes.
Not that everyone wants to live at home, but if you can save 12 grand living at home, hell yeah. That's a lot of money. It's
But why don't I
expensive.
just live somewhere? Because I do want to move out.
Or you could be a GA and just live at a dorm and you're in charge of all the undergrads.
Yeah. I might just try to find housing.
Yeah.
There.
She did mention there's
There's like a
other.
lot of student apartments and stuff.
What options do they give for housing down there?
They really just said the dorm, or it's like you can live in a dorm, or it's like apartments nearby. But they said like the housing can get filled up really, really fast.
It does.
Well, there's 55,000 students. That's
Yeah,
enormous.
So it gets
That's
filled up
huge.
really, really fast.
That's a lot. Ouch.
So I'm gonna explore my options.
Or some people, like, they'll, like, move off of the campus, but, like, they're, like, 10, 15 minutes away.
Right.
So, like, they might be in, like, Walnut Hills, Norwood, over there.
What was, gosh, Dana won't be in charge next year, but Shaniqua Pope will be in charge.
Oh, okay.
So I can sense that they are annoyed that I said, you guys are welcome to come, recruit our students, get an email together, drive them down there, but we're not doing what they did 8 years ago when they started, where we're like chaperones and so
But
they're
also
pissed.
adults.
Right, they are adults. I am with you, but I hear everybody argue both sides. She's like, well, we kind of need help on the ground up there at Central.
Help with what?
She wanted me to help get people on the bus and stuff. And I'm like,
Like, you want to hold our hand? And
I know,
give them a
right.
rope
I'm
that
not.
everyone holds onto a circle with. Like,
I'm not. You guys, I know it's scary, but it's time to start adulting and it sucks. I don't want to do it. I'm 46 and a half. I don't want to do it. But did you guys see any of the kids that we brought into the room or no? Or did you get a chance to see any of the kids when I brought them to the
Oh, your kids? Yeah. I see your kids running around.
bad?
You brought all of them?
bad. Oh, we brought all of them to the hotel.
including the newborn?
And the newborn came too.
I don't see
What's her
your
name,
kids.
Veronica?
Because my wife had her the whole
Oh.
time. Yeah, Veronica was with my wife the whole time.
Oh, Veronica and Tommy.
Yes.
I wonder how you was as a child. I feel like you
Bad.
Bad.
Breast
just
challenge.
like
I
your
was
kid,
bad.
like your
Yeah.
son now.
I was very bad. We're doing a diet now that helps for ADHD.
Have you tried giving them caffeine?
And,
Have you seen that?
I mean, Tommy drinks coffee. I have seen the research on that, and I agree with it. But I also want him to sleep at night, so I don't know.
True.
I'd rather him be bad and sleep, and then be good and not sleep.
Mm.
So, and hope to not make any of my kids a children of trauma. I know I've started this with you guys.
Is this like ACEs?
It is, yeah. Have you ever seen this? This was
No.
the group I had to lead at Lighthouse. I present this often, but it's 98 slides. So we're on 2 of 98. So I got certified in this to do trauma. You guys probably will too. If you go to any graduate school, you're going to get this stuff. There's training. You can get a certification to say you're trauma informed. You get a little thing to put next to your license. But mainly, the biggest point from this is that, well, it changes the way you ask questions in therapy. Instead of like, what happened to you? Or you say, what's wrong with you? Like, that's what I got as a kid all the time. What is wrong with you? Like our teacher would tell us to like, sit down, turn around. And then we would go like this. We'd turn around, you go. And then you'd face back away from her again. Yeah, we were bad. We were like that kid that like,
Is it true that you can like re-traumatize someone like in
if you don't do it right,
like you can like
you
mess
could.
them up? Sorry, like you can mess them up more.
you could. Yeah, where have you heard this? Or what have you heard about that? Tell me more, because you're right.
I don't know. I just heard that like you have to like that you can basically mess someone up who has been traumatized, or like you can re-traumatize them. I don't know,
So,
like how?
and that's why you want to use trauma-informed approach. For one, what if you do come at it like, what is wrong with you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like instead of an asset-based practice where you're looking at what their assets are, is like, what is good with you? What is right with you? What can you do well? Like, I understand you bring these challenges to the table, but what happened? Like, what's your story? Tell me your story. So you're there to listen. So otherwise it can have effect on how they view themselves, their emotion, their behavior. My son, and I don't know how else to describe it, but he, the other day he came right up to me. He knows that I chew on these things when I quit smoking. He doesn't know I smoke, but he always sees me with these, so they're all over the place. He'll get them,
What are
and they're just a tea tree toothpick.
they? Oh.
But he'll look me square in the eyes. He'll open it up and he dumps it, and he just wants to. He knows it like flares me up. I'm like, you motherfucker, and I'll spank him open-handed.
I'm like, damn.
So, and then I have to self-regulate and calm myself down. Like, buddy, I've told you, please don't do that. I know it gets my attention if you can help me pick them up, but I don't want, I don't know how else to handle it. But he knows, kids know they get attention good. They know they get attention bad, but they just want attention. So it does suck when you have more than one kid. But, okay, what do you think grief and trauma, if you used one word, what describes it?
You said describe one word.
The difference, yeah. Grief is blank, trauma is blank.
You say only one word?
Yeah. Or the difference. I'll give you the cheat sheet. Here's the cheat
Grief
sheet.
is like mourning to me.
Yeah, like you're processing.
Like when I think grief, I think of death. Or
Yeah.
like losing something.
Yeah.
Trauma. Oh, terror. That would make sense.
Yes. Like you watched somebody die. You watched
That is actually so traumatizing.
Yeah,
If you ever watch, like
Yeah.
even if they were old,
right.
it's
Like hospice, yeah, when you watch them take their
like the
last
death
breath.
rattle, and like,
Yes.
and then they're like gone.
They usually start breathing just like that and then they die. Or then it'll be like 2 minutes and then they have one last one. You're like, that was weird. And it's gone. It's like, holy shit. But trauma is generally, you do have grief with trauma. It's largely unknown. So kids weren't even added to PTSD until 2010. Like you couldn't
That doesn't make
diagnose.
sense.
Yeah, they only diagnose veterans PTSD. Trauma and grief have similar, but it's usually like pain is related to loss, anger is not destructive, but trauma, it can be like assaultive or violent. Pain is terror, powerlessness, fear, loss, safety, an experience that leaves a person feeling hopeless, helpless, fearing for their life, survival, or their safety. It can be real or perceived. So you could be perceiving this like you're just like terrified, even the hurricane and tornado that went through. So that is a legitimate trauma that people experienced in Dayton several years ago, and then Carolinas last week. So trauma reactions are no different from a nonviolent situation such as natural disaster, chronic illness, etc. So yeah, you guys mentioned somebody dying. There's somebody dying with the, I don't know if that's the grandkid or the,
It was like a grandmother.
yeah,
Probably dying.
yeah, and like the first experience.
I'm sorry, this is so off topic.
It's okay.
Do
Everything's
you
on
have
topic.
a social work master's program?
They only have counseling. Wouldn't that be nice if? So Miami does in Middletown. Did you know that? Miami's MSW is based in Middletown. They're trying to get another one off the Mason exit. So and then NKU also has in person and online.
Really?
NKU has one.
UK has online too.
Because I want to.
Ohio State also has online.
Really, Ohio
Mhm.
State? Because I want to do it. I don't know if. Because I always want to live in Kentucky anyway. So.
I love Kentucky. I went to Kentucky. Nikita got her doctorate in Kentucky. I got my master's. I loved it.
I like Northern
That's-
Kentucky.
And Northern Kentucky is great too. That's where my program was. So when I applied to it in 2001, they called it a distance learning program. We didn't have the internet. This is kind of my bad joke. We didn't have the internet in 2001. Oh, sorry, I ran. I have to keep on moving. I ran like 5 today. Oh,
My brother just ran a marathon.
did
Yesterday.
he?
Oh, no, yesterday on Sunday.
So when I went to NKU, it was called a distance learning program. The teachers drove up from Lexington. So they didn't even have,
That's so weird.
they drove to our classroom just like this, and NKU looked like this too. They taught us class and they drove home to Lexington. And so I wanted to finish quicker and I moved to Lexington. They only let you go part-time up at NKU and I finished full-time in Kentucky. So you've got NKU, UK, OSU, Miami, and Cincinnati, all in the greater Cincinnati area.
I think Ohio State is in Columbus.
It is.
I did not know that.
Yep.
It's like, that's essentially like what Columbus is.
Here's another catch.
Mm.
Guess how many hours you need for MSW at Ohio State?
How much
41.
is that bad?
Guess how many you need at Miami? 34.
Guess how many you need at UK? 30.
In Kentucky, they're both 30. There's Campbellsville.
In Kentucky?
It's only 30 hours and you're done advanced standing.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh, I need to go over
I know,
there.
right?
I need to see how much they're paying me.
It's not.
So
no,
Miami's
it's
is-
not bad. UK
Miami's 700 an hour. So what's 700 times 34? What is NKU or UK? They're probably like
it's like
seven.
I think it's like 7:30,
Yeah, they're usually
but it's only
7.
30 hours.
So that would be $21,900
Yeah. It's like
total.
around 20.
And that's how much you get in student loans for the whole year. Exactly,
Is it?
21,000.
That's how much you can get in student loans.
Yes, in grad
How do you know
school,
that?
because I took the max amount out for 12 years straight.
I didn't know. Like I didn't. Like I thought it was like individualized, but that wouldn't make sense.
You could take out a grad plus loan. One year I took out like 30 or 40,000. It was stupid, ridiculous.
Do you still have student loans?
Yeah. They're forgiven in 10 years, but I've only taught for 8.
So you have 2 more years.
I
So you're
do.
just letting them sit, or you're just paying like your minimums?
You're supposed to pay either 10 or 15% of your adjusted gross income.
Do you do that?
I have been, and they canceled it during the pandemic.
Mm.
So it was 0 for
Period
years.
loan forgiveness. So how much like? How much
I borrowed $250 with interest. I owe $307.
$250 in student loans.
Mhm.
How much was your doctorate? Let's talk about that.
I mean, I was there from 08 until 16, 8 times 21,000 a year.
Mm.
Even though I was a GA and RA and all of that, and
Is
I
it
worked
doc-
full time.
Is a doctorate expensive?
It depends. You could get it paid for.
How
They
do
used
you
to-
get paid for it?
You'd be a GA and an RA and a TA.
Ugh.
You're just there, whatever you call
I'm just gonna
it.
take the loans because I'm.
It is more fun. It was more fun to do both. Like I would work full time and be a GA and be an RA. And I rented out rooms in my house.
Oh, this is so
You
scary.
do what you have to do to scrape by.
Yeah, I did. We were on the topic of housing inflation again yesterday.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Have you guys seen this picture before? And what do you see first when you look at
I
it?
see one's face. But then like,
You see both?
Mhm.
Can you see both things? It's hard to see it for a minute.
You said see both.
There's two things you could see. I mean, there's probably more of that. It says, ask the group what they see. Some will see a man playing a saxophone
Yep.
or a woman's face. Everyone's perception is different, but it is their current reality. What is most important is their perception, not mine.
What you say? A man playing a saxophone or what?
Or the
A
woman's
woman's
face,
face.
because her eyes are
wife's
that
face.
dot, her hair's that way, and her eyes there, and her chin's the point at the saxophone.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what they're saying with trauma, that like everybody sees things different and we need to be open to their view of what it is.
Yeah, because I did not see that.
Right.
Y'all said.
Usually we don't. They say this about the hot summer day. How do you feel on a hot summer day? Some will say they love it. Others will say it's uncomfortable. I hate humidity. I hate
Yeah,
it.
it makes me feel sticky.
I wear shorts
Only if I'm in the pool.
all day long. I camp in the snow. I go like out in the wilderness and sleep in the -10.
Mhm.
I mean, I have proper equipment for it, but I hate hot days. I like to be warm enough, like 70, but not, no. Everyone's perception is different, but their current reality, what is the most important, is their perception, not ours. If we were doing this exercise, I would have you guys draw a picture. Next, the person who drew the picture, say, draw the sun, or they can't say draw a sun, draw a circle in the upper right-hand corner. The point is, like, whatever our directions, just like in a high school class or a graduate class, like, you guys will ask questions about the assignment. Like, what the hell are you trying to say?
Mhm.
Like, what are these dumb assignments that you're giving to us? And I get it. So there is also 4 different ways you could be traumatized. You could be the victim, a witness, or even related to, like your sister or siblings, and then also listening to the details of trauma. So as a therapist, you all will get exposed to trauma. Media also exposes you. Video games, that wasn't, when I started grad school, there was no Grand Theft Auto. It like just came out in 02, 03. You guys ever play Grand Theft Auto?
My sister used to play.
Where you like get a baseball bat and
Mhm.
beat some dude
Yeah.
and take his car, and you're like, it is kind of funny and cute or whatever, but if that was real life, that's pretty
Mhm.
scary. Like, dude, that's messed up.
Mhm.
So, you guys are making me want to look at my student loan because I submitted for paperwork.
Sorry, you're just the only one that will be like honest, because someone else will be like, I'm not telling you that.
Everyone else lies.
Private business. But I'm like, let me ask him because he's gonna tell me.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
I'm trying to figure out where I want to live.
Literally
And,
trying to
and
figure
you
out
graduate
what
25 and you graduate 26.
Mhm.
Okay.
I need to figure out a plan.
Well, that's why we start you guys now. Like, did you go last year to UC?
Like you see, yes.
So you've been twice.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the same people last year?
No, it was a whole bunch of different faces. It was like maybe like 2 or 3 same people, but it was a lot of different faces.
Do you know Kimira?
Kimara, dark skin.
Yeah. Because she's the GA now.
Oh.
Kimira Boatman? And Markeisha? She's with Markeisha.
They're girlfriends, right?
I feel like it. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, they are. Oh, yeah, they were there.
right. So she's a GA there now,
What's the GA?
graduate assistant.
Okay.
So here's where you guys find it. Have you logged into yours?
I'm
I don't have
scared.
ones.
But it's good to know if you wanted to, you could go to grad school and like have funding.
You gotta pay it back. Like that's.
It is weird. Just the whole process is weird. I don't know why none of this looks familiar.
Do
So
grants not exist in grad school?
they do, but like think about it. In recessionary times, where does the money come from? That's kind of
We
what we're
print more
going
money
through.
than we always do.
I know, but they've done it for so long. Look at even what's happening to the price of like gold and silver. It's insane. That's how you know how much money they've printed. Like right now, gold is up $1 again. Silver is up $22, or I'm sorry, vice versa. And that's expensive. So you know they're printing a lot of money. Also housing. Did you guys ever look at, do you guys rent or own your parents' house?
Oh,
Did you say they want to sell?
eventually, yeah.
My first house, I just saw somebody sold it last, well, it was
For, like,
pending.
double.
Like I bought it for 110. This thing is pending for 340. But all the work that they did is actually ridiculous because I've never seen this much work done to a house. And I don't know how to even describe, what is that thing up there?
A
Like,
mantle.
yeah, but what's the,
A TV mount.
oh, that makes sense now because it is a working fireplace too. Huh.
We currently have a TV in front of our fireplace.
That is so weird that they did that to the house. So I bought this old farmhouse piece of crap for like 110,000. I don't know what these people did to the house, but it's definitely weird. Will your parents live in your house for the rest of your lives?
What, like the house I've like grown up in?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. No.
When will
won't
they sell and move?
Because I'm the youngest sibling, and my dad got remarried like 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and so like obviously they live in there together. But like, let's be real, like they're getting older. I mean, they're only like 48, 49, but they're just gonna sell it to downsize
Mm-hmm.
because we have 4 bedrooms upstairs and then like either like a small bedroom or an office space downstairs.
Okay.
And they just know like there's no point of like going up and down those steps their entire lives when they can't
Right.
handle it. So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna sell and move into like a small ranch.
Okay.
Because right now they're just like in a big empty house, like it's just the 2 of them, and they occupy a bedroom.
Right. Yeah. So you were
Like they don't even eat at a kitchen table.
really?
No.
Now that I think about it, I gotta stay in Ohio, especially with the Ohio Great Minds. I gotta.
Well, you can still go to school in Kentucky. I went to school in Kentucky and worked in Ohio.
Or like worst case scenario, what, you travel 30 minutes to
Right.
downtown Cincinnati and work somewhere?
Right.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can absolutely do that.
That's why there's so much traffic in the morning.
It's weird to see a house. I wish I had gone through this when it was listed for sale. So do you guys ever track housing prices?
I do. I look at houses at least once a week.
So what have you noticed about it?
I must have looked at someone in Springfield.
It's easier to get a house in Texas than it is here.
That's why everybody moved to Texas because their house
Yeah.
is cheap.
Okay, like for example, like a $450,000 home
Mm-hmm.
in let's do Spring, Texas, which is where Simone Biles is from, which is like a hoity-toity part of Texas. It's going to be at least 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and have an in-ground pool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a like modern home. The homes in Ohio suck right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they need so much work and like what they're charging for them and
I'll show you the most ridiculous housing stuff.
that's
When
crazy.
I bought it for 118, I sold it for 155. This dude bought it for, I guess he got it for 142. He just sold it for 138% higher, $340,000.
That's insane.
I think so. So it still would be $2,000 a month. Jeez, when I got that house, it was $600 a month. Now it's $2,000 a month. That's sad.
I'm looking at my grandparents' house to see how much it was worth, and that's really funny.
How much is it worth? $500,000? Because like houses that you got for $100,000 back in the day, this was one of them. Now they're $350,000. It's crazy.
I wouldn't mind living in Springfield.
Oh, really? Is that where a grad school is? Or a place you would work is that you're saying?
Yeah, like a place I could
Okay.
work and like just live.
This is
in
the outside of their house. It's so they're
Oh, that's going to be $350,000. I
so
can tell.
they don't let people come and like survey it. If
Right.
that makes sense because they're old people. So it says right now it says it's 230 and it's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, and it's in Green Hills. So like
Oh, that's a nice part of town.
But they bought this house I think for 65.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. That's what's so crazy. I'm so sad I couldn't go when this house had open house though, because I literally went, you know, the guy was actually letting me kind of walk in when he owned it because he knew I was the one that sold it to him. But all right, any other things on trauma? Do you guys know anyone who's been either victim, witness, related to, possibly all of the above, or listening to the details of trauma?
My mom.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just from growing up?
She'll be a victim and related to.
I've definitely been traumatized in my life. Took a lot of therapy, and then I fired my therapist because she was stupid.
How long were you with her?
Not even for that long.
What did she do stupid?
So it was like off topic of like what was bothering me. I'm like, oh, like I'm stressed out. Like school's a lot. Now mind you, I was in high school.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
you know what this one had, like this old white woman loves to go there. You know what she says? She said, "Why don't you just drop classes?" It
What?
doesn't work. Like
I know. In high school, you can't drop a class. That's hilarious.
correct. Like it precisely does not work like that.
You're like, are you drunk or stoned?
Well, I'm like, are you
Because-
stupid? You haven't been listening. You don't know anything about me.
She said, why don't you drop classes? I want to say that to one of my clients
Yeah,
next
she literally
time.
said, "Can't you just drop a class?"
Ooh, buddy.
And I just stared at her, and I'm like, "No, like that's not an option."
And that was 2 years ago, pretty much, probably.
It would have been longer than that.
Oh, okay. Because you were even in high school as recent as 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That is crazy.
Because I graduated in 2023.
Do you know if you plug in a headphone to a fast charger, does it ever work? Does it not work?
I don't know. Is it charging?
Oh, I had to click allow. That was stupid.
Oh.
I didn't know
Is it
headphones.
charging?
Now it is. I had to click allow.
I don't know like why it's like that. I guess so. Like if it was like someone trying to plug in a
Hacking?
random device, in,
Yeah.
they could pull files off of your laptop or something.
They're hacking you. Here is PTSD when it first came out. All right, so in '94, they tried to get children included, but it took 20 years and the new DSM-5. Did you ever find one of those?
Did you talk to him about getting you one?
No. He's probably only here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I did see him yesterday. I have to do it like live and in person because I'll forget. Ouch.
That's valid.
So one of the weirdest thing with this, when I worked at Lighthouse, we diagnosed so many kids with ADHD. It turned out we misdiagnosed them.
And it's PTSD?
It's PTSD. And so here's why. Look how close. Well, first, here's how you diagnose PTSD. You need 1, re-experiencing, 1, numbing, avoidance, and 2, negative cognitions and mood, and 2, arousals.
I mean, yeah, like I could see how this.
Here's the overlap. Look at this. See how ADHD and PTSD, when you're diagnosing a kid, they totally overlap. Same symptomology.
So how do you distinguish the difference?
You got to dig deeper.
So like what? Like you to figure out like if it was a specific event that triggered this, and like is that really one of the only ways to kind of figure?
Pretty
it out?
much. And the hardest, that's why they do these trainings, because sometimes kids don't even talk or they won't talk about it. You're not going to talk about trauma until you feel safe. So that's most of the kids you'll work with at these agencies that give you Ohio Great Minds and Behavioral Health Workforce Expansion Program. They have trauma. And that's why there's high burnout too, because going back to this slide, and I never thought of connecting it this way, you're listening to the details of trauma.
Right.
And a lot of times, because it's different for everybody, we don't even know what to say. So they'll say, well, don't say anything. Like, listen.
Right. I kind of like, so what, like, people will say something like, what you find, like, oh my gosh, like, that's actually so insane and so sad. It's just like.
So sometimes I do say that's insane and sad. But you try not to re-traumatize them by
Right.
like, holy shit, I've never heard of anybody having to do that ever in their life. Like, you must be so fucked up. Like, doesn't that fuck them up even more? You know? So you try not to give that reaction.
They're talking to ourselves.
I mean, just trying to be real, because being trauma informed, I think when I visited Nicaragua and I got to see a landslide that had killed 800 people, and there were like skulls and bones that they had dug up, and then they're showing us that. When I went to Nicaragua, that was a little traumatizing to me. Feeding the kids that were like skin and bones in Nicaragua, because they're like literally malnourished, and like a 5-year-old looks like a 2-year-old. That fucks with your brain. You know what I mean? So like, that's why they say it takes some people years to get over a service learning semester or doing like a study abroad. So here's different types of trauma: single exposure, one type of exposure, or repeated, or exposure to one or two different events, and then complex cumulative trauma, maybe domestic violence situation where you're like every night, developmental trauma disorder. Those are the three. And then 2010 proposed diagnosis criteria. So this is DSM-5. It's not accepted, but it's consideration. It may have been accepted since then. I need to look that up. But whether or not they exhibit symptoms of PTSD, children who have developed in the context of danger, maltreatment, and inadequate care giving systems are ill-served. You mentioned foster care. That would be one. As it frequently leads to no diagnosis, multiple diagnosis, or just medication. You just medicate them, and that's sad too. So not only the symptoms, but the experience of trauma messes with how they experience themselves, how they experience others, and then life following exposure to traumatic events. And if we truly want to help, we must first understand how children are experiencing what they have been exposed to. And we can't assume we know. So again, it's like dialogue.
Can someone be traumatized and like not show like any type of symptoms and like they're just normal?
Sometimes. Yep. Absolutely. And that's tricky too. Because like, how do you know? Maybe you know of the event, so you do know that they should be traumatized. Maybe they're showing resilience, they just overcome. You guys remember the word that means do no harm?
No.
Beneficence, if I'm even pronouncing it right. Because we got malfeasance and then beneficence in our code of ethics, and it means do no harm. So if you don't think what I think, feel what I feel, experience what I experience, and see what I see when I look at myself, others, and the world around me, how can you possibly know what is best for me? So some kids will say that. So at Lighthouse, we would have you pick your therapist. Like they would give, like if you wanted somebody that it could even be based off of looks, which was kind of weird, but that's what they chose. That at the time it was new and innovative, but they're like, you have a preference. Do they do that now when you sign up for counseling? I don't even know.
Yeah, like
male,
age,
female,
race,
yeah,
gender.
right. And that's because of the research they've done on it, and research we're doing now on racial equity and behavioral health. Have I shared any of that research with you guys? I'm happy to if you want to.
Well, are you finding that like
there's a major shortage in the state of Ohio? There's 4.5% social workers
They're
that are black to serve 13%, a population of 13% black. So we're short. What would that be? Like 300%?
Yeah.
We're 300% short.
What is flying around?
It's probably a stink bug. They're always stink bugs. Or squash bug.
Yeah.
Because they ate my squash.
Nice.
Little bastards. They ate all my pumpkins. So it only grew like this big. So you also got acute stress versus post-traumatic stress. So acute stress is normal response, reaction to an event. You're over it in 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say like a tornado and it fucks up your house, or a car accident and you get it all fixed and then you're done. Or a breakup, like you break up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whatever it is, and it fucking sucks. Some people say it takes as long as you dated them to get over them. That's crazy.
That's actually insane.
Right. Similar to like, as long as I lived in Nicaragua, it'll take me that long to get over Nicaragua. And that was like 7, 8, 9 months.
Are you traumatized from being there?
A little bit. That's kind of what chose my trajectory of my career. Like I wanted to do like make a bunch of money, be a doctor, lawyer, something that made big bucks. And it kind of changed like knowing the worldview of Nicaragua, that if you make above 30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of the world population in money. That's crazy. 30,000 and you're the top
That's
1%. Crazy. 2 billion in the world live off $2 or $3 a day.
Have you seen the documentary where it's like the guy that only lives off of like however many dollars a day?
No, that would be good.
Guatemala.
I was going to say they have to
It's
be.
like a group of friends, and it's actually crazy.
They have to be somewhere like that, and they probably grow a lot of their own food then too. I would think. This is probably the biggest thing to take away from trauma-informed care, and Dr. Hunt will back this up. Do you guys ever see Dr. Hunt or talk to her? This is why we're doing horticulture therapy.
I like do talk to her, but like not like this. Not
Right.
Like therapy was. Like,
Right.
Hey.
I know she does say hi to everybody, is very kind. But trauma is sensory. So in order to have rehabilitation from the trauma, you almost have to have a sensory therapy. What do you think a sensory therapy would be, or could be, or should be?
I think of like the little like kinetic sand.
Yeah.
Things.
That's one. Horticulture therapy. Yoga, dancing, movement therapy,
What are like therapy dogs?
drawing. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Can I have a therapy dog in my own practice? Or like do I
Absolutely.
have to jump through like a bunch of hoops for that?
No.
Perfect. I'm gonna get a little litter dog.
Yeah, you could totally have a dog.
I'm gonna name him Gus Gus.
Is that from Disney?
No, so
That's the mouse.
that is a mouse.
Yeah, it's the mouse.
It's unrelated though. You know the mall? Like there's like a little,
Cinderella.
there's like that little animal place where you can like buy puppies in the mall.
Yeah,
There is this wiener dogs are dachshunds.
right.
And his name was Gus Gus. He was so cute.
Oh.
And you know you can pay $1 to play with them.
Oh, they still have it?
I don't know if it's still there.
This is
was
years
last
ago.
year.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
At the mall by us?
No, at the mall in like Beaver Creek.
Oh, I haven't been there. That's where the Perdomas are getting their baby baptized next month. Saint Luke, because my brother-in-law is baptizing them.
That's cute.
It's kind of crazy.
Full circle moment.
Yes. Beaver Creek. That is the rich part of town, right?
Yes.
Okay. So sensory experience. This is like the biggest thing you can take away from it. So you're going to have to do shit with your clients that gets them into their right brain. So drawing, usually left-handed, because here's all the stuff. Let's see if I can make this big enough. Do I zoom here or do I hit play? Because most of the stuff affected by trauma is like the parietal lobe, prefrontal cortex. I'm not that smart, so I have to go. Let's go down a slide so I can just read it. So, right brain is sensory, memory, affect, and emotional regulation. So that's sensory stuff and where trauma usually is. Left brain is like language, reasoning, thinking, understanding, processing. When you're traumatized, the left brain stops talking to the right brain. So that's another big thing that comes up.
Is there like an effect in like the nervous system?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I'm thinking even, having a kid, stay at home, parents get traumatized a bit. There's all the stuff. So brain functions, your frontal lobe, movement, intelligence, reasoning, behavior, memory, personality, planning, decision-making, judgment, initiative, inhibition. And your frontal lobe isn't done until you're like a college graduate. For men, it's like 25, maybe women are younger. Parietal lobe is intelligence, reasoning. Cerebellum is balance and coordination. Pituitary gland is hormone, fertility. Temporal lobe is speech, memory, hearing. So where are we going with all this? Oh, damn it. I thought that now it's going to zoom everything in. So stress response system. Isn't that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
So exposure to trauma inducing event. If you're a survivor, a lot of times frozen and activated state of arousal, state of fear. So like you kick up your cortisol. Well, yeah, stress hormones are released. Cortisol, adrenaline, etc. And then here you go. This is a big one. The stress response system. So surge in stress hormones creates the brain, changes in the brain, actually damages the brain when arousal is prolonged. So like your brain development gets fucked up by trauma. Changes in the brain cause changes in persons, cognitive, behavioral, and emotional function. So here's your noticeable effects. You get put into this fight or flight. You'll have your pupils dilate, mouth goes dry, neck and shoulder muscles tense. That's all the shit I'm getting right now. Heart pumps, chest pain, palpitation, sweating muscles tense for action, breathing is fast. The hidden effects is your brain gets body ready for action, adrenaline released for fight or flight, blood pressure rises, liver releases glucose to provide energy for muscles. Digestion slows or ceases. So sometimes you'll gain weight. Sphincter, close, then relax. So you kind of like tense up. Cortisol released and depresses the immune system. Oxygen is needed for muscles. So you start breathing more too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. It is crazy the research they're getting. Like, also the left and right brain stop talking. So both brain hemispheres are affected. So the first thing that happens is the left and right brain don't integrate and work well together. There's no cooperation between the two. So that's the creative side. So drawing, painting helps it, daydreaming, 3D, rhythm, imagination, synthesis in the right brain. Left brain is more analysis, logic, list, numbers, words, and lines. And trauma always goes more to the right brain. And you won't release it talking about it until you do a sensory thing like drawing or dance or horticulture therapy. So trauma affects the left brain is then you'll have no language, no reasoning skills, unable to make sense out of what happened. The neurons in the hippocampus are damaged significantly by the stress. The hormones are released. Learning, processing, and focusing is impaired. In the right brain, trauma is stored here. So this is why you've got to do sensory to remember. You break it.
Acting up.
I always break mine.
So is that like why some people like after an event like they just go like mute?
Yes. Yeah, you just freeze because like your brain's not talking. You just like, because you would be like, why didn't you just run from the dude or like get your purse away from them or like kick them in the nuts? It's because you freeze. You're like traumatized. Somebody's robbing you, you get traumatized.
That's crazy.
You don't know to like beat their ass. You might even
Right.
be bigger than them and you could beat their ass, but you just don't even know. They don't even have a gun. You could take them out, but they just take your shit or whatever it is. You know, it's weird. Oh, that's a sad. This is a sad one. Let me see if I can find it. So Ghosts from the Nursery, Tracing the Roots of Violence. It was written by Cara Morse and Dr. Wiley in 1997. Read reflection of the group, then reflect. First baby is learning fear, sadness, anger. She is unable to know how to cope with these overwhelming feelings. The second baby is learning trust, connection, and pleasure. Oh, I have to find the story to read it. Contentment, ability to regulate emotions, learning. They're talking about a baby that grew up with like a mom that fed him every time it cried and was hungry, and then a baby that was with 50 other babies in a nursery. And they could only get to them like once every 50 minutes to hold them, calm them, soothe them. So second baby is learning trust. That first baby in the nursery is learning fear, sadness, anger. She's unable to know how to cope with these overwhelming feelings. They're hungry as shit. Second baby's learning connection, pleasure, contentment because mom holds them every hour. The difference between like an overwhelmed Russian, what are they called? Foster home, but it's like more than just a foster home. It's a nursery that just has a bunch of kids that two people take care of all 50. And there are places like this. And then the difference between that and somebody who has one-on-one mom, learning these things, interacting with each other, the normal curiosity of a child to learn about the world, emerging inside, expectations, confidence, and self. So I probably need to look up Ghosts from the Nursery, and I think that it is on the internet. Ghosts from the Nursery. Oh, it's a whole damn book. Oh, maybe this person can tell us the difference. I know we're almost out of time, but we'll stop on this thing.
A study released this month by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report 1 in 50 American infants suffer from neglect and abuse. A third of those were mistreated if they were less than 2 weeks old. And the psychologists are correct. These frightening statistics may foreshadow increasing rates of crime and other social ills. Back in 1998, when authors Robin Carr Morse and Meredith Wiley released the book Ghosts from the Nursery, they presented startling evidence that violent behavior is fundamentally linked to abuse and neglect in the first 2 years of life. Their book pushed forward a national discussion on how, why, and when society needs to intervene in child abuse and neglect cases. And it led the way for even more research on how abuse and neglect actually hardwire children's developing brains. One of those authors, Robin Carr Morse, is in Idaho speaking at the Idaho Children's Trust Fund's annual conference, and she joins me now. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
The 1 in 50 infants was shocking to a lot of people. Was it shocking to you?
It was shocking to me.
You know, it's hard to believe that in this day and age that there's that many American infants that are, because in this case it was a lot of neglect. There wasn't as
That's
much
right.
abuse.
Probably related at least in part to drugs. And now the reality is that a lot of parents are imbibing in things that aren't very helpful to their availability to that baby.
In the book, you build a connection between neglect and abuse in not only in the first 2 years of life, but also before the baby's born, in utero, and then after that, and then adult violent behavior. How did you start putting those chains together in that link?
I'm a family therapist, so I have certainly seen that in my own practice. And my practice is for basically middle class and upper middle class people that come to me. I don't accept insurances, so I'm seeing families across the whole income economic spectrum. For 20 years, I worked inside the system in child welfare, and I was the director of parent training. So I went around to I had a staff statewide, was looking at child protective service cases around the state of Oregon, staffing those cases and helping parent trainers deal with families that were particularly difficult. So gradually, between working as I do now and working earlier in my life inside of the system, I began to make the linkages.
When you would talk to these young people who had committed acts of violence.
Mhm.
What sort of feedback did you get from them? They obviously had a common link to some horrific beginnings of the child.
Well, I think there are some common links, but I think to really understand those links, many people, when you read about the school shootings and so on, people will say this child acted out of the blue. He just snapped. Well, that isn't really what happens. If you look at those young lives, if you start even with prison, look at people who are currently in prison and trace their life trajectory backwards, you see that most of the people who are now in prison were also known at the high school level as kids who had some impulsive problems. They might have been gang involved, they might have been early kids who were identified with learning problems, they might have been kids who were alienated, bullied. You look back further in grade school, there were often kids who had diagnosed problems with learning, emotion. Many of them had families who were also abusive or neglectful. Back to the neighborhood, before the child ever went to school, often there was profound abuse or neglect, and typically neighbors knew. They simply didn't know what to do. And then if you look back to the very beginning, that cycle begins with babies born to families all across the world who are experiencing their first minutes with their babies, with mamas with bruises on her face or on her back, living quietly submerged in angry or demeaning relationships, maybe parenting too soon. Circumstances that we know, mental illness is another one. So it's a trajectory. And if you ask the kid, they'll say they did it because they were mad at someone, or they've been being bullied, or they're full of hate. Their reasoning is coming from their cognitive brain at the time, but the real answers come from much earlier, and the programming of the limbic or the emotional system that happens very early in development.
This is why, you probably shouldn't send your kids to daycare.
That's a tough
Because,
call.
that's when they were talking, that's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
So, could this be seen when you put your young child in daycare?
Unless if you're shooting heroin at home and just passed out all day long, and they get more exposure in daycare to people and behaviors. So
I don't know. I never went to daycare. My mom
Right.
was a stay-at-home mom.
right,
But
sure.
then I also learned how to read
Mm-hmm.
before it was expected of me and
Yeah.
things like that. So
Yeah. No, it's a good question. It's just interesting to trace a lot of this back all the way to
Ooh, stink bug.
yeah. Uh-oh. You eat my pumpkin bug. You eat my
it actually
pumpkins.
followed you all the way.
It sat on my car and drove up here.
This bag is just crawling to the chair.
Does it stink when you crush it?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to back up.
I know. We'll stop there. I know this is a lot, but I figured you guys, knowing that you're looking at graduate schools right now and Ohio Great Minds, this is probably the stuff you'll be digging into.
I'm not gonna lie, that money came right on time, especially with this zero balance.
Did you owe $2,000 or $3,000?
No, I didn't owe. My
Did you already get the Great Mind money?
Yeah, it just came in.
I
And
know.
it's saying,
I know.
And I didn't even know I was in it. I don't even know what happened.
I don't think.
Did you
that-
reply and say, yes, I'm interested?
Yeah.
That's probably how it
But
happened.
it's crazy how it happened like this.
It is
Where did you
crazy
see it on
because
there?
Wait, you talking about on my bill?